Welcome to Books for Success. Today, we're delving into the wisdom within Electra by Sophocles. Electra, 410 BC, is a deep dive into the power of emotions and the thirst for justice. It outlines the severe grief and anger of Electra, a character in ancient Greek mythology, who yearns to avenge her father's murder. Before we begin, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you want to keep receiving the knowledge of book summaries about health, wealth, love, psychology, and much more. Don't be shy about dropping your book suggestions for us to summarize. Also, you can use this video as an audiobook summary. Let's grow and succeed together. What's in it for me? A story of vengeance and justice. In a world where power, revenge, and justice intertwine, the classic Greek play Electra by Sophocles stands as a stark testimony. This summary examines its themes of psychological trauma, pursuit of retribution, and the moral dilemmas in the backdrop of the archaic Greek society. While the narrative is rooted in ancient times, its exploration of the human psyche, familial bonds, and sense of justice remain as relevant today as they were back then. Suppressed grief. As Sophocles' iconic play Electra unfolds, we are immediately plunged into the emotional turmoil of its heroine, Electra. Chapter 1: Suppressed Grief. Our exploration begins with the bleak reality that for Electra, there is no mourning allowed. Picture a young woman steeped in wrenching grief over her father's violent death, outlawed from expressing her emotions by those complicit in the crime. Sophocles lays out Electra's pain in raw, unabashed detail, reflecting the depths of her anguish and her suppressed longing for justice. Electra's mourning takes center stage in her demeanor and words. Her mourning clothes, adopted willingly despite the prohibition, symbolize her grief, unyielding commitment to justice, and silent protest against her mother and stepfather's tyranny. Contrasting the grandeur of the royal palace, these somber robes speak volumes about Electra's unresolved emotional conflicts. The refusal to allow Electra to grieve her father's brutal murder also indicates the oppressiveness of her living environment. Her very home, a place that should offer comfort and safety, becomes a reminder of the tragedy. Electra's pain is not merely personal. It resonates as a universal symbol of suffering and suppression, and adds a jarring note to the tragic melody of her life. Denied the right to express her grief, Electra's suffering morphs into an undercurrent of thick, tangible bitterness that pervades throughout the play. This suppression of grief becomes a major narrative device, showcasing the palpable tension between the unsaid and said, the hidden and revealed, the suppressed and expressed. Moreover, the sorrow suppressed within Electra brews a desire for revenge, adding a layer of complexity to her persona. It is a pronounced theme of Greek tragedies, where the grief-stricken are often the most resolute seekers of justice, explicitly highlighting the catastrophic consequences of suppressed sorrow. Chapter 2: Silent Observers. In Greek drama, the chorus often plays a crucial role in lending context and commentary to the narrative. In Electra, Sophocles introduces an instrumental element, the chorus of the women of Mycenae. This collective voice becomes an intertwined thread throughout Electra's sorrowful journey, serving as a bridge between the audience and the characters, and as the verbal embodiment of the community's moral compass. Consider them as the silent observers, women who are privy to Electra's sufferings, and yet maintain a neutral stance, navigating subtly between empathy and judgment. Their voices resonating in poignant verses echo collective wisdom and societal norms, adding a unique texture to the narrative. The chorus, primarily middle-aged women of Mycenae, provide an external perspective to the burning issues within the palace, constantly weaving interjections that surge and ebb like lyrical waves. Their collective voice rings out clearly amidst the turmoil, often providing the moral and emotional compass needed to navigate the play's unfolding drama. The chorus not only brings an added layer of depth to the play, but also serves as the pulse of public sentiment. While they encourage piety and advocate for justice, they also express fear about the possible consequences of defying powerful rulers. Sophocles' brilliant crafting of the chorus encapsulates a wide range of emotions, often adding dramatic irony to the narrative. As they watch the events unfold, they serve as both witness and commentator, expressing sentiments that range from sympathy for Electra's plight to apprehension of the impending consequences. Chapter 3: Contrasting Temperaments. The drama continues to unfold with the introduction of Electra's younger sister, Chrysothomis. The interactions between these two characters provide a vibrant contrast of personalities and moral standpoints. Their ongoing dialogues not only shed light on their individual characteristics, but also reveal their polar approaches to the wrongdoing and injustice within their royal household. Electra, the older sibling, is a figure of intense willpower, representing the moral obligation to avenge her father. She is uncompromisingly bold and vocal about her disdain for her mother and stepfather's actions. This is not merely a flight of vengeful passion. Rather, it's a persistent, righteous undertaking that stems from a strong dedication to familial love and justice. On the flip side, Chrysothomis embodies a more passive disposition. She is cautious, pragmatic, and unwilling to go against their mother and her consort, despite recognizing their wrongdoings. Her hesitancy resonates with a common human fear of retribution, and the dilemma of choosing between moral justice and personal safety. Their opposing stances make their interactions compelling. They are more than mere conversations. They are collisions of differing perspectives. Sophocles' portrayal of Electra and Chrysothomis underlines the power of character dynamics to bring depth to a narrative. These exchanges not only move the story forward but also prompt audiences to question the complexities of morality, the crushing impacts of power and fear, and the human struggle to strike a balance between the two. The diverging paths of Electra and Chrysothomis inherently speak to the vast spectrum of human responses confronting injustice. A strained bond. The stormy relationship between Electra and her mother, Clytemnestra, provides a portrayal of twisted maternal ties and the destructive cycles of revenge. Chapter 4: A Strained Bond. This relationship serves as a combustion point in the narrative, driving the story forward and intensifying the tragic atmosphere of the play. Electra harbors a deep resentment towards Clytemnestra for her central role in the regicide. She is not just an aggrieved daughter mourning her father, but also a scorned child resentful of her mother's impieties. Sophocles poignantly portrays this strained relationship, enabling audiences to grasp the full magnitude of the underlying emotional intricacies. On the other hand, Clytemnestra is not painted merely as a villainess. Her reasons for murdering Agamemnon, intricate and controversial, raise questions about moral ambiguities and the cyclical nature of revenge. She stands at the abominable intersection of being both a murderess and a mother, adding depth to her character. The exchanges between Electra and Clytemnestra are not easy to digest. Their confrontations, embedded with resentment and bitter truth, are electric with passion and retort. These interactions not only drive the narrative forward, but also offer thought-provoking insights into the dichotomy of right and wrong, exploring the blurred lines of ethics and morality. Electra's disdain for her mother reflects her desire for justice, while Clytemnestra's defiance blends guilt and justification, offering an intriguing exploration of the human conscience. This dynamic intricately weaves the theme of hamartia, the tragic flaw of characters, often seen in ancient Greek plays. Chapter 5: The Turning Point. The recognition scene, known as anagnorisis in Greek plays, marks a dramatic turning point in Sophocles' Electra. It offers a critical twist involving mistaken identity, when Electra and her long-absent brother, Orestes, finally recognize each other. Plot intricacies surface as a stranger arrives, carrying an urn purportedly bearing Orestes' ashes. Overcome by grief and despair, Electra mourns what she believes to be the final proof of her brother's death. Little does she know that the man standing before her is, in fact, Orestes himself, disguised and accompanied by his loyal tutor. This scene is powerfully charged with a blend of grief, confusion, and eventual relief. Sophocles masterfully sets up this twist, effectively gripping the audience's attention. The tension escalates as Electra clings to the urn, pouring forth her grief, before the culminating moment when Orestes reveals his true identity. The moment of anagnorisis is profoundly emotional, representing relief and hope in Electra's grief-stricken existence. Her pent-up sorrow and longing transform into utter surprise and incomparable joy, setting the stage for the further unfolding of the narrative. This is not merely a reunion of two long-separated siblings, but a convergence of collective aspirations for vengeance and justice. It opens a gateway into the second half of the drama, breathing new life into Electra's hopes of avenging her father's death. The recognition scene in Electra showcases Sophocles' exceptional capability to create suspense and dramatic irony. It is an emotionally loaded scene with a gripping narrative twist, setting the tone for the ensuing acts of vengeance. The homecomings, often seen in Greek plays, form a major part of the tragedy's pathos, offering audiences a cathartic experience, amplifying the emotional intensity of the unfolding drama. Chapter 6: The Cost of Justice. Sophocles marks the climax of Electra with the triumph scene that is as much about achieving justice as it is about confronting the costs of such justice. This scene marks the completion of Electra and Orestes' quest for vengeance, as Clytemnestra and her lover Aegisthus are finally subjected to the same gruesome fate they inflicted upon Agamemnon. The triumph scene is dense, teeming not only with a sense of accomplishment, relief, and the grim satisfaction of revenge fulfilled, but also with an undercurrent of horror and unease. After all, what Orestes does involves matricide, an act abhorred by ancient Greek society. Yet their actions are driven by a desperate thirst for justice and the gods' will, as represented by the oracle of Apollo. The juxtaposition of victory and moral ambiguity is thought-provoking. On the one hand, there's relief and a sense of righteousness in retribution. On the other, the matricide casts an ominous shadow over their triumphant moment. It's a disquieting reminder of the unending cycle of violence, invoking hardly a typical scene of triumph but a profound contemplation of the cost of vengeance. Sophocles presents the triumph scene with intense dramatization and raw emotion, effectively maintaining suspense while compelling the audience to reflect on the moral complexity of revenge and justice. Even as we observe Electra's long-awaited moment of vengeance, we are left grappling with the ethics of the protagonist's actions and the subsequent implications. Electra by Sophocles is a powerful Greek tragedy centered on Electra's quest for vengeance against her mother, Clytemnestra, and her stepfather, Aegisthus, who murdered her father, King Agamemnon. Final words. The play unfolds in Argos, years after the murder, with Electra's grief and desire for revenge undiminished. She eagerly awaits her brother Orestes' return to enact their revenge. Unknown to her, Orestes returns incognito to assess the situation, and together they devise a plan to avenge their father's death. Through clever deception, they kill Clytemnestra and Aegisthus, but their act of vengeance plunges Electra into a deeper moral and existential crisis. Thanks for being part of our insightful voyage. If our summary piqued your interest, we encourage you to dive into the complete book for a deeper understanding. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more content if you're new here, and share it with others who might find it valuable. Keep on reading, discovering, and advancing until our next adventure.